swing, not this one, the actual one has been removed, for an unusually long amount of time. Sheriff's deputies arrived. They found that the child, 3-year-old Ji'Aire Lee, was in fact deceased. The mother still pushing him in the swing. There were so many questions. How did the child die? Was he already dead when he got into the swing? And now we have the results, as you said, of that autopsy. It found that the little boy died of hypothermia and dehydration, essentially from exposure, from being in the swing outside for too long. Additionally, sheriffs confirmed that they believe that the mother put the child in the swing when he was alive, pushed him till he was dead, and then after. No official comment tonight, but people in this neighborhood are reacting to the news.
It's awful. I have a child, so it's hard to believe that somebody could do that. But obviously she wasn't a probably sound mind, so I kind of feel sorry for the situation and the child.
Well, so now what happens next? We've told you the cause of death, hypothermia, dehydration. The manner of death ruled homicide. The mother was initially hospitalized, but now she is out and about in the community. The sheriffs are still...
This has to be one of the most shocking and disturbing cases I've probably ever heard of before. And honestly, this is one of those cases that I don't know, like it's something that I've really been thinking about the whole time I've looked into it. I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. So on May 20th, 2015, 3-year-old Ji'Aire Sims passed away after his mother pushed him on a swing in the park for 44 straight hours. So that's a day, and that's almost 2 days of pushing him on the swing. Now, I'm not 100% sure all the details behind this case, but I do know that the mother suffered from schizophrenia, and she was having a psychotic episode that particular day, and she was not very much aware of the situation. Like, when you're having psychotic episodes, from what I've heard and looked into, your brain kind of dissociates from the situation. Now, the heartbreaking part about this case is just days before this, Ji'Aire Sims' biological father tried to get custody of him because of the situation with his mother and her mental health. And he was basically denied it. I'm not 100% sure why. Like I said, the details behind this case are kind of, mysterious. But the fact that he was put in her care with her mental health being the way it was, and the father not being able to have the child because of this, is just bizarre. And then the fact that the child passed away right when he was trying to get custody. Now, this was a situation where she was not aware of what she was doing, and she was cleared of all charges and basically free to go because of the situation with her psychosis. And poor little baby was basically passed away from hypothermia because he was being, pushed on the swing for almost 2 days straight. I can't imagine this baby, what he went through in that situation, and the torture that must have been for him. Like, this is absolutely heartbreaking. And honestly, I never heard of this case before. So let me know in the comments what y'all think about this, and thank you for watching.
So here we have a tragic story of a mother who pushed her baby boy on a swing for 40 hours straight. Here we have Ji'Aire Donnell Lee J. and Romeshia Sims, 24. And guess what? Romeshia, the mother, was not found criminally guilty or responsible because she suffered schizophrenia. So on May of 2015, Romeshia took her baby boy to the playground, as they normally went, with the exception that this particular time, Romeshia had stopped taking her medication for schizophrenia. So when she took her son, she was in the middle of a psychotic break, so she wasn't herself. I can't even imagine the pain that Ji'Aire felt of not being able to get out of the swing. So Ji'Aire passed away after being in the swing for 40 hours of hypothermia and dehydration. She stood in the same spot for like 40 hours straight, pushing her son's dead body. So you may ask if there was people actually in the park, which is up here, the park, up on the top. Yes, people did see them at the park, but they thought that she was probably coming and going until they saw something strange with the little boy. He was not moving. So they eventually reported Romeshia and they took her to jail. But she was not found responsible because she had been off of her medications. Those were the consequences of her not taking her medication. Also, Ji'Aire's father was also fighting for custody of Ji'Aire because he said that Romeshia was not in good mental state to take care of their son. So to me, this is so sad and so tragic that a little boy had to pay the consequences of his mother not taking her medication. And feel sad that the dad was not able to take custody of the kid on time to be able to save him from his mother. And here you see like the funeral, like everything that went on. There was other pictures that didn't want to put those up. And here's the playground, the actual playground. And here is Ji'Aire and his mother. So what do you think? Should she be guilty?
Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you are watching this video. This is a very sad case of Ji'Aire Lee, who was swung to death by his mother. Romeshia Sims was found pushing her dead child in a swing in La Plata Park in May. Was not criminally responsible for the child's death, according to a report by a psychologist. Romeshia Sims, 25, was indicted in September on charges of manslaughter, first-degree child abuse, and child neglect. It's unclear how the report could affect the case of Romeshia and whether a judge would declare her not criminally responsible for rejecting the findings and move forward with the proceedings. Romeshia's trial was scheduled to begin Monday in Charles County. Psychologist Teresa Grant of Maryland Office of Forensic Services wrote that although Romeshia is competent to stand trial, her mental disorder caused her to lack substantial capacity to appreciate the criminality of her conduct or to conform her behavior to meet the requirements of the law. Romeshia's put her 3-year-old son, Ji'Aire Lee, on the swing on morning of May 20th, and he was found unalive 2 days later. She was still pushing the swing. Police were called to the scene for a welfare check for Romeshia and Ji'Aire around 7 a.m. on May 22nd. The officers could immediately tell the child was unalive. A medical examiner later ruled the boy died of dehydration and low body temperature. Family members told police Romeshia suffered from mental illness. The family have been living in the Deluxe Inn motel with Romeshia's mother. They say that she has schizophrenia and other types of mental illness that led to her son's unaliving. All right, you guys. The grandmother is speaking out, and she is Romeshia's mother. The grandmother of a 3-year-old boy found unalived at a Maryland playground last week said her daughter would never do anything to hurt her son. On Friday, Charles County police found Romeshia Sims swinging her unalived son for what investigators said was an unusual amount of time at a La Plata playground. Romeshia is facing any immediate charges in connection to the incident and is being treated at a local hospital. She went to what they call those, an insane asylum, but she got out because the judge found her not guilty because of her mental illness. Family members identified the boy as Ji'Aire Lee. Romeshia's mother, Vontasha Sims, said her 24-year-old daughter wouldn't harm her grandson. Romeshia would never harm my grandson in any type of way. I just believe she has some type of mental illness, some type of mental break that came upon her where she wasn't able to get herself out of that situation, Vontash says. Vantage, 47, claims her daughter was diagnosed with a mental illness about 3 months ago and had been seeking help until police discovered her with her son at Willis Memorial Park. The park is about a mile away from the hotel where the family is staying. Vantage said they are homeless and that Romeshia suffered depression trying to deal with this while still taking care of her son. I don't want people to look down upon her. I want people to use this situation as an opportunity to grow, learn from it. Like I said, help your neighbor. If you suffer from mental illness and you need help, don't be afraid to reach out to somebody, Vantage said. An autopsy of Ji'Aire has been conducted. However, Diane Richardson, the spokeswoman with the Charles Chief Office, County Sheriff's Office, said the findings are incomplete because they are still waiting for toxicology reports and other information to come in. Police will not comment on whether the mental illness played a role in his death. Darnley has been trying to get sole physical custody of his son. That's the son's father, Ji'Aire, since March 2015, but has failed by the court system due to traumatic, unforeseen circumstances. Ji'Aire passed away on the morning of Friday, May 22nd, 2015. All right, you guys, now the father, he's speaking out. A 3-year-old boy who was found unalived in a swing before pushed by his mother, Romeshia, in La Plata, Maryland, last week was caught in the middle of a court battle before Ji'Aire's unaliving. Ji'Aire Lee's body was discovered Friday on a park swing that his mother had been pushing back and forth for hours, or even since the day before. They're saying that it's between 43 hours that she has been pushing Ji'Aire. The child's father, James Lee, says he fought for sole custody of his son because the mother, 24-year-old Romeshia Sims, was mentally ill. His efforts were not successful. I have a stable home for him, Lee tells NBC Washington. I have stable roof for him to be under, for him to have life that he's supposed to have. Sheriff's deputies went to the park in La Plata around 7 a.m. after being called to check on the welfare of a woman and a child. The woman had been pushing for an unusual long period of time, possibly from a day before, what she has. They said they rendered aid to Ji'Aire, but it was unsuccessful, obviously, because he's been in there about like a day or two already. And he succumbed to the elements. And this is very sad that the mother just had a psychotic break then and there. And the boy did tell her, like, hey, I'm going to get off the swing. You know, I'm cold. I'm hungry. And I know the baby had to be crying. I know the boy had to. They took Romeshia to the hospital. Investigators are piecing together the timeline days leading up to Ji'Aire's unaliving. The autopsy has been completed by the Charles, and it says more tests are required. This is so sad, man. Like, my heart is breaking for this boy. And now that the mother's out, I hope she's taking her meds. You know, I hope she's doing well for herself. If she has another child out there, I hope this will not happen again. Rest in peace to Ji'Aire. And yeah, I felt bad for the dad too.
She pushed her 3-year-old son on a swing for 43 hours. This is 24-year-old Romeshia Sims, and she was the mother of 3-year-old Ji'Aire Lee. She battled with depression, bipolar disorder, and schizophrenia, but that did not stop the love she had for her son. On May 22nd of 2015, Romeshia and Ji'Aire had walked from the Deluxe Inn motel that they had been staying at for a couple of weeks over to a nearby park. That day, it was a little chilly since it had rained the night before. At some point while they were at the park, Romeshia had suffered a psychotic episode and she was hearing voices in her head telling her to keep pushing her son on the swing because if she would stop, he would die. For the next 43.5 hours, Romeshia had pushed Ji'Aire on the swing and she had no idea that he had actually died. The stranger eventually noticed and they called the authorities. Ji'Aire was found deceased and he did not have any signs of trauma to his body. Police took Romeshia to a psych hospital to undergo evaluation. 2 months before Ji'Aire's death, his father had actually filed paperwork in court to get custody of him. He was concerned for Romeshia's mental health and felt like she was too unstable to care for their son. The medical examiner later ruled Ji'Aire's cause of death was due to dehydration and low body temperature, and his death was ruled as a homicide. Romeshia was indicted on charges of manslaughter, child neglect, and child abuse. She later pled guilty to lesser charges and avoided time in jail or a psychiatric hospital. She was given a 5-year conditional release, and during that time, she had to abide all court orders, take her medications, and maintain doctor's appointments.